Well, here we are, the end of MK11 with MK1 coming out tomorrow. I know a lot of people playing already, lucky y'all, but for most of us, we'll be playing tomorrow in about 10 hours. I wanted to give a look back at MK11 after 4 years of consistently playing and putting in 700 hours, it says that I put into this game. I wanted to really take a look back and give an in-depth review of what I consider the greatest fighting game of all time. I wanted to break these down into categories of the most important things about the game, such as graphics, the story, the gameplay, etc. So I wanted to start with the graphics because the graphics we can sum up pretty quick. I'm speaking on the Series X and the PS5 version. Um, if you have the PS4 and Xbox One version, the game still looks great. It just looks even better on the new system. There is a difference from somebody who played it about 2 years on the Xbox One and before playing it the last 2 years, I believe, on the Series X. I want to say graphically, it's as good as the game going to get. The character models is great, and that's what a lot of people complain about is in MK1. Actually, they got all the character models correct. They got the faces right, the skins right, the boards look amazing. Everything about the game visually is amazing. There's really not too much you can complain about, and I haven't heard anybody complain about the game visually. I mean, everybody looks how they supposed to look. The skins look good. Everything look good with the game graphically. As far as the story mode goes, because I know a lot of us do play the story, and the story is a big part of the game. What's funny is that the first story, well, the first half, I felt like it left a lot to be desired. It wasn't, it was all right. But it felt like there was something missing to the story. So when they added aftermath, I'm like, oh, okay, this is smart. This is something that'll really make the game, stand out and add that much more to the story. Because when you add aftermath to it, it turns out to be a good story. It ends up being not too long, but then not too short. An overall story of being able to choose the timeline in between Sang and Liu Kang, even though we see Liu Kang wins in the end, even if you pick Sang Song. But overall, the story mode was pretty good when you combine it together. I don't have that many complaints about the story. No story, especially with the MK game, is gonna be perfect. But comparing it to MKX and MK9 story, off the and I can even remember Deadly Alliance story. It ranks as one of the best. There's not too many problems with the story. So next, I wanted to talk about a big thing about the game, and that's the roster, which is big thing with any MK game because no MK game since Armageddon, I guess, had everybody in the same game. They switch in and out characters. So the characters that they do choose to put into the game and then the ones they choose to leave out really does dictate how good the game going to be. And honestly, I'm going to say this is really my biggest and one of my only complaints about the game is the roster. I felt like they left a lot of people out, and most people was thinking too that there was going to be at least one combat pack left. When you look at the character select screen looks, unfinished. That's why everybody think, okay, we have to have a few more characters to put in to, fill out the character select screen. But they kind of just dished the game and said, all right, we done working on the game. We moving on to the next game. And I remember it caused the uproar, and a lot of people was mad. Like, hold on, you still missing such and such. You still missing Reptile Smoke. Where's the ninjas at? And they kind of teased the ninjas with Rain. So a lot of us were disappointed, but now we see they did that just so they can include them in the new game. But it still doesn't change the fact that MK11 roster left a lot to be desired. They had a lot of people that we did like, and the characters that they did leave in the game was great characters. Everybody moveset was good. That's why I used random. I used everybody in MK11 because everybody was good and had their own move set. Of course, some characters I like more than others, but for the most part, I really enjoy using everybody, and the people that they did put in was great. But I felt like they left out a lot of key people, like how you leave Reptile out of the game. But I mean, it happens. But as far as the roster goes, MK1 roster is already looking better, and we only know the first combat pack, and the roster is already looking better than MK11's do already. Then even I think MKX and 9 roster was better, personally, if you asked me. So that's really one of my biggest complaints, and one of the things that stopped this from really being a perfect game is the roster could have been better. Next, I guess we can touch on the game modes. I mean, it is what it is with the MK games. We're talking about the Crypt and the Towers of Time and the King of the Hill, Combat Lead, all of that. I mean, it is what it is. The Towers of Time was great. How they gave every character they own. Towers of Time, you can get different skins and brutality. That's something new and different that I like. The Crypt was the Crypt. I haven't played the Crypt in about 2 3 years because I got everything, of course. But from what I remember, the Crypt was fun at first. It was something to do. It was challenging for a little bit. It is what it is. We'll see how Invasion go because it looking like Invasions could be a hit or miss. So we'll see how that go. But in terms of game modes and everything, I mean, it is what it is. I know a lot of people missed tester might and stuff like that wasn't in this game. But as far as the new things that they did add, it was great. Then I gotta touch on the being able to customize each fighter because to me that would really set the game over the edge for the first time. Being instead of variations and a few different skins here and there, they gave you the full ability to customize every fighter, and to me that's what really made this game great. Because when I first seen that, I'm like, okay, this is what I've been waiting on. I can not everybody Scorpion gonna look alike. Not everybody Sub Zero gonna look alike. So that really was what really put this game over the top for me. To being able to customize skins and being able to change your move set. Everybody move set can be different. I really did like that. I like the King of the Hill and the combat lead and stuff. That's gonna be what it's gonna be. So in terms of the game modes, I mean that was pretty good with me. So yeah, I mean it's a fighting game, just like sports game. A fighting game gonna be a fighting game, just like the sports game. But what's funny is that a lot of people complain about the cameos in MK1, but when you think about it, that's what really makes it a new game. Because if they released the same thing, the same game, y'all would be, or if they didn't have the cameos, y'all would be saying that it's the same game, just minus with just the new roster. Just how everybody say about 2K and Madden, how oh it's the same game every year, y'all just updating the roster, and it's the same thing. Of course, that's just how fighting and sports games gonna be. But I give it to NetherRealm. They actually found a way to make MK1 seem like a whole new game thanks to the cameos. So even though a lot of people don't like it, it's what makes the game new and makes you okay. I can spend my money on this because it doesn't feel like 2K or Madden to where I'm spending my money and I feel like I'm playing the same game but just with a new roster. So that I do give them credit for. But in review, lastly about MK11, I give it a 9 out of 10. To me, it's the greatest fighting game of all time. There's really not, I mean, no game is perfect, but there's not really too much you can complain about the game. Like I said, visually, the game is great. I mean, the new stuff that they added compared to the old ones was great. Like, you really can't get any better than this. And of course, you can't compare this to MK2 or, I'm a Tekken fan too. Tekken Tag Tournament, Tekken 3, the original Street Fighter. You can't compare them to this game because the eras is so different. Like graphically, you can't compare the graphics, can't compare the gameplay because it's just too different. It's like comparing a VCR to streaming. Like it just it just totally different. And of course, new doesn't always mean better, but it's better for right now. I feel like MK2 and actually MK3 Ultimate was the greatest Mortal Kombat game for the time being from the midway era. But as far as this era, I have to give it to it. I know a lot of people like MKX and even MK9 better. It doesn't even compare to, like I said, the being able to customize your fighters and the graphics alone. This shit on MK9 and MKX. The only thing that MK9 and X have is the roster. Having a better roster and better characters to choose from. So yeah, everybody give your last reviews of the game. I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all have to say. And I'm gonna be uploading my final MK11 content, all of the matches I have saved and stuff like that, and all the content I have from that. I might even go streaming one last time for MK11. But I'll be back tomorrow bright and early, soon as the game release, playing MK1 and showing footage. I plan on maining after today Shang Tsung first, but I do plan on eventually using everybody and being able to go random select like I did in MK11. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, once again, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think you have to, even if you hate this game, you gotta at least give it a 7 out of 10. Like, there's no way you can say this game was trash or suck. It just, it just no way. If you like Mortal Kombat, you had to have liked this game. Like I said, the only complaint I can really see is the roster and a little, and of course, the cheesiness is certain fighters you don't like, certain moves I mean, that's gonna be, you can't change that. Like, of course, I hate Scorpion, I hate Hellport, I hate, like, but that's stuff that you can't really control. That just, the game is just gonna be what it is. So yeah, that's my review of the game. It's been 4 good years, 4 hard, long, when the game first came out, just like how MK1 gonna be. I put a lot of hours into it. So this is officially it. Once MK1 drop, we gotta put all our hours and time into learning that. So it ain't gonna be no time for MK11 no more. But thank you for the good 4 years. Rest in peace.